Hello, and we're back at Ann's Ceramics, and we're in my workshop, and today we're going to talk about base coating. And I've got three of these dogs, and what I'm going to start with first is the bisque primer, and that is a white color, and I've added 1 drop of a light pink into that white for this first coat. And what that does is when you've got white bisque, it lets you tell where you've been. And I use a stiff, semi-stiff brush for base coating pieces with texture. And I like for my paint to be thin the first time around, and actually the second time. I like 2 thin coats rather than 1 thick. So I just touch my brush in some water, go straight into my paint, just kind of dab it in there, and then come directly to my piece. And just thinning that down just lets the paint glide over it real nice and easy and smooth. And it lets go down into the crevices and seals the bisque and does not fill it in. What the little bit of pink does to it whenever you put that in there is that if you have nice bright white bisque, you can actually tell where you've been. And when you get ready for the second coat, you're going to use the white primer without the pink. And that way, as you go back over it, there's just a tad difference in the color. And so you can actually see where you've been and where you haven't been, and it makes it real easy to base coat. And really, for using the bisque primer, that's all there is to it. You just touch water with your brush to thin it down, put a touch of light pink in the first coat, and then the second coat is just the white. And so now we're going to talk about using just black acrylic. And I'm going to put some black acrylic out on my tile. And again, 2 thin coats is always better than 1 thick. I'm going to use the same brush. Just dry it out, get the white out of it just a little bit. I'm going to pick up a second dog. And I'm going to pick up my black. Now, one of the secrets about using the black, or not a secret really, but one of the tricks to it is, as you're going over it, as you'll see, there's little white specks. Places where you've gone over it, but the paint just hasn't covered up. That's because, again, your paint's too thick. So again, I'm going to touch into water, come back, and just kind of dab it into my color. Not going to dry my brush out or anything. And then I'm going to come back with my color. And boy, that just flows on there, just really nice and easy, covers everything up. In places, it will have kind of a charcoal gray color rather than a total blackout. And I find that's perfectly acceptable. Coming up from black sometimes is difficult, and sometimes it's a breeze. And sometimes I'll actually thin my black down so it is more of a charcoal color, and I won't have near as much trouble coming back up. And when you get through, it's all going to be coated black, and that just did real easy. Don't have any white specks coming through where it's charcoal and I want it to be black. I just dab a little bit more on there, and it's a breeze to do. So there's really not a big secret to base coating with black. Again, thin your paint. If it's too thick, tap your brush into the water, then into your paint. You're good to go. Now we're going to do the washes and the picklings. And here's my third dog. All the same thing, same brush. Going to dry it out a little bit. Take that out. I do a lot with the black wash, and so I have the Super Duty, heavy duty bottle, big bottle of it. And I'm going to put some of that out. And the thing about when I want to use the black wash or any of the pickling colors is when I really don't want solid coverage. I want it to be dark in the crevices and lighter on top. And got a little bit too much water still in my brush. And I can tell by the way it's going on. This is one time I don't need the water. And you see this goes on. It's not really black, but kind of lays in the cracks and crevices. And I kind of let that sit in there and dry just a tad. Then I'm going to take my brush, my sponge, not my brush, my sponge, and then just lightly roll over it. And this is kind of leaves it dark in the cracks, in the crevices, and lighter on top. And you can kind of see kind of splotchy in places. That just kind of pat it back on. And the detail of the piece has an awful lot to do with how this reacts and what kind of coverage you get. kind of acts like I didn't get this shook up quite as good as maybe I should have, but it's going on just fine. Got that on there, and I'm just going to just lightly take some of it off, and it gives me a good base coat coloring for when I get ready to paint this dog, because I really don't want to come up from black. I want it to be just kind of black in color. This works really good for cows or just anything. We just did a teapot and with the green wash, and I was really pleased with the way it turned out and everything. Good luck with your base coating. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it informative for you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Next time we'll talk to you a little bit on dry brushing.